Hello there guys, and welcome back to another epic Inexorable video. In this video, this is the first video that we're doing that is properly about straight lines, going into the actual mathematics of it, okay? So this is about how we find the gradient of a straight line that passes between two given points. So if you know 2 points on like a coordinate axis, you can basically find the gradient of the line that passes through them. We're not going to figure out the entire equation of the line just yet, we're just going to look at the gradient. So there's a bunch of stuff on the board, and actually some of it looks a bit intimidating. We have like delta x's. My hand, oh no, look, I don't know if you can see that. My hand is all green, probably from using a green pen. Doesn't matter, guys. I'm going to embrace it, like the Grinch or something. Although it's still like a year and 6 months until Christmas. So, to do this, there's some formulas, okay? If we have some arbitrary pair of points, one of which is x1, y1, that doesn't mean anything. That literally just means some random point. Doesn't matter what it is. Arbitrary, doesn't matter. It's always the same. Just some random point, x, it has a coordinate of x1, x coordinate of x1, it has a y coordinate of y1. And if there's another point, that's a different point, that has got a coordinate of x2, y2, so the x coordinate is x2 and the y coordinate is y2, totally generalized, can be anything. If they're 2 points and they're on a straight line, then basically the gradient, which we're calling m, remember from y equals mx plus c, the way that you figure out what m is you use either one of these formulas. These formulas are the same, they're just written differently. So m is y2 minus y1, basically the difference between the y coordinates, divided by x2 minus x1, the difference between the x coordinates. In other words, delta y over delta x. That triangle is a capital delta, it's a Greek letter. It's not scary, it doesn't mean anything other than change, it normally just means change, okay? So change in y, in other words, the difference between the y coordinates, divided by the change in x, which is the difference between the x coordinates, and that's it. This diagram here is showing you y, okay? If you don't know where these formulae come from, or basically this one formula that I've written in 2 ways, that you might see either way, in like science subjects you could definitely see this. That's the gradient of a line, guys. It's the change in y over the change in x. The reason I've written this is because I want to show you where this actually comes from. Where does these formulas come? Because it looks like I've just wrote them down. If you have some random point here, this is x1, y1. Doesn't matter what x1, y1 actually is. Doesn't matter what those points are. Random point. And you have another random point, x2, y2, basically just a second coordinate. The way that you find the gradient, remember the gradient is the steepness of the line. So this line has got a steepness going like this. Not like this, not like this, not like this, like this. The line is going in this steepness, okay? The way that you do that is you just figure out what you're supposed to know what x2, y2 is. You're supposed to know what x1, y1 is. Basically, it's the difference in the y coordinates, delta y, see that? y2 minus y1, that length is delta y. And x2 minus x1, that length is delta x. That is the change in y over the change in x. That gives you the steepness of the line. It's just like that. So guys, now we're actually going to put some numbers into this thing and figure out what the gradient of a line is between 2 actual points that we're given numerical values for. Okay guys, so we've actually got some examples here. We've got 2 examples. We want to find the gradient of the line that passes between 2 questions here. First question, between 4, 2 and 6, 3, those coordinates. And a second question between minus 4, 5 and 1, 2. Let's look at A first, this one here at the top. How do we do it? Well, maybe at first you want to actually label these pairs of coordinates. So this would be x1, y1, x2, y2. But, you know, you will eventually be able to just go, okay, I know what these are, I know how to do it. But let's actually label them. So just by looking at this, we're going to say this is our first coordinate, this is our second coordinate. So x1 is going to equal 4, y1 is going to equal 2, because that's these guys. x2 is going to equal 6, and y2 is going to equal 3. Using the formula that we will hopefully come to remember, we just plug the things in. So it's y2 minus y1, so I'm going to say up here, m is going to equal y2 minus y1, so 3 minus 2, divided by x2 minus x1, so 6 minus 4. I'm going to write it here. M is equal to, well, this is 3 minus 2, that's clearly 1. Divided by 6 minus 4, that's clearly 2. So the answer would be that the gradient m is equal to 1 over 2, or 0.5, or whatever you want to say. I'd keep it as a fraction. M is 1/2. So if it was in the form y equals mx plus c, we might not know what c is just yet, but we sure do know that m is 1/2. So it would be y equals 1/2 x plus, and then we would figure out how to calculate c in a different video. So in this one, m is 1/2, okay? Perfect, that's the gradient of the line, which would mean that it would be like something like this, because a gradient of 0 is like this, a gradient of 1 is like this, so half is something like this, half as steep really as 1. Okay, perfect. So how do we do this, guys? We're going to look at the question again. Now we're going to try and do this one without labeling. Have a go, maybe pause the video if you want to. Let's just have a go at it. It's basically the difference in the y coordinates divided by the difference in the x's. Just by looking at it, we're going to get m is equal to 2 minus 5 divided by 1 minus, be careful, minus 4. If that was too much of a big, like one go step, just label the coordinates. x1, y1, x2, y2. Label them, substitute them in. Now we're not done just yet. We need to simplify this. What is 2 minus 5? It's minus 3. Okay? 2 take away 5. And then 1 subtract negative 4. That is 1 plus 4 because it's 2 negatives. So this is 5. So therefore the answer is m, which is the gradient, is equal to negative 3 over 5. Negative 3 over 5, okay? Which again, it means it's not going to be particularly steep, but it's also going to be negative. So it's going to be sort of coming down like this, something like that, okay? That's how you do it. So guys, in the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you another part of this where they can ask you some funny questions, where they tell you the gradient, but they don't tell you some of the points, and you have to sort of reverse engineer it, okay? So I'll do a part 2 of this video where we're going to talk about that. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.